Hello, Internet. Today I'm going to talk about converting academic papers into patent applications. I'm going to start right out with something favorable about the inventors and PhDs and professors and people who are in an environment where they have to publish a lot of papers. I understand that. I understand the pressure of academia to publish a lot. I think that's a real shame. I think it says something about academia, and it says something about some of the problems with our education system, along with a much bigger problem that's just waiting to blow up, and that is the student loan debt crisis. But nonetheless, PhDs and professors and researchers have to publish a lot of papers. No problem, I get that, I understand. And sometimes these papers end up being potentially commercialized or at least being considered for patent applications. I get that, and I understand that there may not be in the right format for patenting, because what the academic community is looking for is very, very different from what a patent examiner and a federal court is looking for. And I've been in all three places. I've been a college professor for a long time. I was a patent examiner myself. I have litigated patents in federal court. So what we're going to do now is show you some drawings and what I do when I get a good, suitable academic researcher who gives me a lot of academic documents and wants to see if we can get some protection for it. There's some steps I ask him to take, and I try to reroute them and turn them around onto a little bit different path, get them off some of the academics. Let's go take a look. Folks, what we have on the left is an example of an abstract academic concept-only drawing, often from an actual academic paper. Like I said, I understand that professors, PhDs, researchers, university people have to come up with these type of academic papers. It's a publish or perish environment. Got to put out a lot of papers to keep your job. I get that. I don't agree with it. I can find several logical flaws and why it is that our upper education academic protocols should be changed, because how they are working now is not effective, not producing good employees. But setting that aside, this is the world we live in. This is what we got to do. They have to publish, and they have to publish in a dry academic format, often in an impractical context. So when I'm converting a paper, okay, I get that, I understand that. It's not necessarily the individual's fault, and if it was his own choice or her, he or she may have a different way they wish they could express it, but it would be less likely to be published. But still, I'm going to come back at them, and I'm going to come back at them hard, and I'm going to say, I don't want what's in Figure 1B. That's not good enough. I want what's in Figure 1E. Have you built one of these? Show it to me. Take a digital photograph of it in your lab where you've built it and bolted together and soldered it, or developed the software, or constructed it and tested it. Figure 1B doesn't interest me very much because it doesn't interest the examiner very much. Figure 1E is where we're going to get to the meat of the patentability. We're going to do you a lot more good and a lot more protection if we can get you away from these documents like in Figure 1B, and we can move you toward Figure 1E. Now I'm going to talk about calculus for a second. What we have here is some calculus from the academic paper, and that's all well and good, and it belonged in the academic paper, and we can arguably try to include some of it, and maybe all of it, within the actual patent application as well. But from a legal enforceability standpoint, it's not much help at all. And from a 35 USC 112 enablement standpoint, it's also not much help. But I'll leave it in there because quite often it might have at least an indirect relationship to explaining a little bit about how the invention works, what it does, and how a person of ordinary skill in the art could make and build the invention. Maybe. Quite often not, but if it's given to me and that's all I got, I guess I'll include it, but it sure isn't what I want when I want to build effective patent protection for my inventors. Calculus is not the way to get effective patent protection because the enforceability of it is almost impossible. The ability to determine and how to detect infringement is almost impossible. And the ability to include limitations in the claims that harken back to the calculus portion of the specification is almost impossible, or if you do, the claims are indefinite and unenforceable. You might be able to smoke one past an examiner who's really in a hurry and doesn't have time to properly realize that any allowance accorded on these claims is going to be utterly useless. But you can sometimes, attorneys will sometimes get patents like that out the door, where the claims contain some level of calculus, but it's not a big help to the inventor, not doing a good service for the client, and there's got to be a better way. Get your inventors to talk in plain English. Inventors, you got to tell us what the invention is, what it does, why is it good, what value does it provide, what does it do, and say so without weird abstract diagrams. Instead, clear, understandable documents and explanations and diagrams that show what it is, what it does, hopefully without calculus. This drawing you've already seen, and it's just to reinforce that figure 1C is really only in there to support the calculus that's shown in the academic paper. I left it in because it's possible that it may have some influence on enablement, but in general, drawings like that aren't much help to the patent, aren't much help to patentability. There's other things that can represent patentability a lot better. I'm going to spend less time explaining this one because I believe by now anybody watching this has gotten the point. It's not that the drawings on the left are wrong, it's that they're not much help. Abstract theoretical drawings are one way of conveying the principles of the invention, but as shown in figure 2A, the stuff on the left is probably not what's going to get you patent. What the examiner's looking for, what the attorney's looking for, what the federal courts are looking for, and what a licensee is looking for is on the right, not the left. Figure 2C, not 2A. You inventors that got to convert from academic papers into actual patent disclosures, please strive for the type of drawings and diagrams on the right, even if it means just taking a digital photograph of your lab. Sure, we can then readapt it back to the explanatory diagrams on the left, such as figure 2A. But where we'd like to start from, and this isn't always possible, but where we would like to start from is the practical, not the hypothetical, the actual, not the theoretical. You're going to have a lot better chance of getting a patent, a lot better chance of getting a licensee, a lot better chance of finding customers if we can start from that side. Thanks for watching. Let me know any other topics you want me to discuss. This YouTube channel is to help you. This is for information. I want to hear from you and I want to know what things are on your mind.